All right, I'm going to interrupt you all once more here. Hey, let's take a moment, if you guys would. Let's take a moment and give a round of applause for all of those who prepared the food this morning. That was a blessing. Yeah. All right. Once again, thank you all for being here. I know we're doing some cleaning up still and all of that, but I am excited to be able to have this opportunity and to have Joel and Tom here. They're going to kind of take turns sharing with us. Joel is the director up at Grove and Little River, and Tom is the vice director, is it? Or manager? Okay. Well, anyway, they're the ones who have been running Grove, and they're now taking over running Little River. And through the process of all that, I have to say I've gotten to know these guys well and formed a friendship with them, and I'm excited because there is a lot of diligence they pour into what they do, and a lot of that's going to start rubbing off on Little River. So with that, I'll go ahead and invite, I think, was it Joel starting first? I'll invite Joel up here, and he can kick us off, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Well, hello. Well, thanks for having us. We're excited to be out here at Myrtle Point again. Actually, the guy that trained me in almost everything camp was a pastor here in Myrtle Point. I don't know if you know, he passed away, but Wayne Harmon up at the Nazarene Church, he was my mentor growing up, so one of my best friends. So I've been at Grove Camp. I came in 2008, so I've been there, 13 years? Is that what it is? But before that, I was at a camp called Kellogg Springs Camp, which is where Wayne was the director. So I have a wife, Kara, and my 3 kids. Jonas, 13, Anna's 11, and Scylla is 5, almost. She's turning 5. So anyways, you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll...
I'm Tom McCormick. I grew up in Southern Oregon, but in 2003, I moved up to Grove Christian Camp, became the executive director there at the camp, and my wife, Karina. This year we celebrate our 39th year of marriage. I've got 2 kids. Daughter's 36, and my son's 33, and I have 5 beautiful grandchildren. I just can't believe how old they're getting. The oldest one turns 15 this year. She's studying for her driver's permit. I can't be that old, though. But I've been up there at the camp for a few years now. It's an amazing ministry. And I just wanted to say really quick, last time I was here, I thanked you guys. I was kind of in tears, had that check in my hand. I was just overwhelmed. But I want to thank you for your enthusiasm for the mission, for the for getting the word of Christ out to young and old people alike. Sometimes when you're in ministry like that, you could just get down and out, and you guys have been a huge encouragement to me here this last couple of months, and I just want to thank you very much. So
I started coming to Grove Camp in the late 1990s when I was in high school, and I proposed to my wife at Grove Camp long before I ever thought I would be working at Grove Camp. So I would come there with Danny and Tracy Herod, who are at BBC now. I would come there and I would do music. I would do bass guitar and sing with Tracy. So that was my start at Grove Camp, and I loved it ever since. And I always hoped that I'd work there. And about 2007, I started calling Tom, and actually my wife started calling Tom and say, "Do you guys have a cook job or something that Joel can do while we're looking for a job?" And the board went out in faith and said, "We're not going to make Joel a cook. He's been in camp too long." And they hired me out of faith without the money. And we started losing $30,000 to $40,000 a year for 3 years. And then it started turning around. And I don't know, I've just seen over the years, I've seen the camp go from struggling. And then when Tom and Karina came, all of a sudden things started looking really good. And camps were in the hundreds. And it's just gone well from there. So really excited about being at Grove Camp, and now we're super excited about being involved with Little River. We've heard about Little River just for years, and we've been up in there talking with their managers over the years. So we're just excited about this merger that we're doing. So
Grove Camp itself started in 1951. Six and Gibbs Church of Christ there in Cottage Grove. They got together and got the property, the original 3 acres of property, and then through the years, people donated property, and they bought property, and it grew, and we're 109 acres there at Grove now. It's been a really rich history. I don't know. There was one point It was probably about 2005. Does anyone know Julia Hemingway from the Cottage Grove area? So she was up there, and she was a great grandmother. We had 5 generations of people working and camping at that camp that year. And so it became really, really obvious to me early on that just how the camp ministry just models discipleship over and over and over again. You know, just people keep coming, the next generation, arming people with the sword, you know, the Word of God, and it just keeps repeating over and over. And we're very passionate about it up there at Grove, and we're very excited to be taking on and working with Little River Camp now in this area, because we know there's a lot of rich history there. Just talking with a few of you this morning, work days and being a counselor up at camp and different things like that. It's just an amazing ministry. After we got there, though, it became really, culture was changing at that time. You know, we had volunteer lifeguards, and we did cooking a certain way. And so we really, my wife, Karina, who's not here this morning, worked really hard to kind of try to bring the camping ministry up current. And so now we hire, for example, every year, we've 3 certified licensed lifeguards to make sure our kids are safe when they swim. We file with the health department in Lane County, and we have our restaurant certificate and those kind of things. And sometimes camp falls behind. You know, we cut corners and don't do that stuff, and so we've worked really hard at Grove to bring that stuff up to standard, and we're hoping to do that at Little River. Start working and bringing things up to standard that maybe just haven't quite been taken care of the last few years and stuff. And so one more thing before Joel, is we also realized that we were doing a lot more business outside the camp, our camp programming. We started doing outdoor schools, Kiwanis, RILA things, and by charging those groups in our off seasons, we were able to keep our camp pricing way down low. And so that's our business model behind that, is we try to keep camping as inexpensive as we can for our churches by doing a lot of stuff in the off season with other groups.
Yeah. So when I came, my degree is actually in education. I'm a teacher, and so I started getting into the outdoor schools, which they already had some outdoor schools, but we started writing curriculum for outdoor school, and I think last year alone we had about $200,000 worth of outdoor school business, or the year before last, sorry. Nice. Last year we lost $200,000 in outdoor school business. And so, but God provided anyway, and we ended up in the black. Tom and I were scared the whole time, but God knew better. He provided. So,
and through that curriculum that Joel was able to come up with, what we did that was because we saw some outside groups coming in and do an outdoor school, and we know the term nowadays is they're following that science, and they're leaving out a lot of stuff. It was just a really weak program. So by us designing our own curriculum and doing our own programming in those outdoor schools, we can't talk about God, or we can't pray at the camp while the outdoor schools are there, but we can go to a level playing field with them. We don't have to be all on one side all the time. And so out of that, with those outdoor schools, every year we probably have 75, 80 kids come to camp out of the outdoor school program to our summer program. And we're looking, probably 15 to 20, 25 kids a year accept Christ that are coming, brand new kids, unchurched kids. And so it's really a blessing. It's scary reaching out, getting kids in that aren't church, that aren't disciplined, they can be kind of wild. I don't know if you guys, how many have been a counselor at a middle school boys camp before, or a middle school camp before? Yeah, it can be kind of scary at times. So, and especially when they're not churched at all. You don't know, they come from damaged homes. They've been abused, maybe they're out of the foster care system, and so they just need someone to love on them and surround them, tell them about Christ, and it's been very successful. In fact, the last few years before COVID, we were averaging between 700 and 800 kids a year coming through Grove, and about 10% of them are accepting Christ, so 80, 90 kids a year are accepting Christ up there, so that's really a blessing.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that.
Oh, sorry.
So I got to think of what I was talking about next. Yeah, so what goes on at Grove Camp when you send your kids to Grove Camp? So Grove Camp, we're pretty intentional about keeping it Bible-centered, Bible-focused, but then we have a blast. So some of the things we have a rock climbing wall, we have a zip line, archery, we have an awesome swimming hole. It's a sandy bank in the river, but our swim hole stands still. It doesn't move. It's not like a river. It's like a pond. We do all kinds of field games. One year they set up pins and they did joling, so they shot me down a slip and slide at bowling pins. So that's Seth Bailey for you, if you know Seth Bailey. Yeah, joling. Yeah, it's hard to miss targets when you're shooting me down it. So.
He didn't mention also we have atomic slip and slide at Grove. We have about a 60-foot bungee cord with a big loop in it. And we wrap it around kids' back, and they sit down on the plastic. It's about 150 feet of black plastic, and we stretch them back as far as we can as they're sitting down. And you let them go, and it just shoots them like a slingshot down this. And so we cheat. They have a lot of fun when they come.
Yeah. And so then we also partner with several Bible colleges. Our main Bible college, of course, is Boise Bible College, and they send reps. Nicole's been there. I think, Pat, have you been there? Not as a rep, but you've been there. We just have some amazing staff come from there. This year, actually for the last 2 or 3 years, we've been doing a camp called Leadership Boot Camp. And so Boise sends students and professors down, and they put on a camp for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And that's going to be taking place March 21st, right? March 21st through 24th. I just found out yesterday that's going to be day camps. But if you bring kids from very far distance, you can have them in cabins, and they have to stay with their youth leaders. They can't be with us. So that's the way we were able to get around that rule. So most kids will drive back and forth every day. But normally, we stay there, and they're led by Boise Bible College staff like Russell Grove and Ross Knutson, and then a bunch of Bible College students that come and just make it a blast. So.
Also, we campfire time. We put a lot of emphasis on our campfire time around the singing songs and testimonies, and so it's a very effective tool up there at camp. Also, we take great pride in our food at Grove. We spare no expense. The food is amazing. You can tell it's not too bad at all. So, and we also have, over the years, we've developed gluten-free, lactose. I mean, it's a wide range so everybody has something to eat, no matter what your dietary needs are. But it's kind of fun that we just take all these things, and they're having all this fun for a whole week that they're away from the rest of the world. But meanwhile, we surround them with some really intentional counselors and stuff, and they hear the word of God. They hear the word of Jesus. So,
so we hire between 12 and 16 counselors a year, and they go through some pretty intense training with Tom. Make sure that these kids are they're centered in the Bible, and that they know their stuff. So, matter of fact, I've seen over the years, I've seen Tom send about 20 staff home. I don't think I've ever seen him send a kid home. So usually it's the staff that we have to send home. So, but we have great staff, and then we have a lot of youth pastors and parents that come too. We try to always have at least 2 counselors per cabin, and the kids are never alone with counselors. All our counselors are background checked. Matter of fact, they're all counselors that we know really well. So, you have anything on that?
Well, if you have young people here that 14 to, college age, and they're looking for summer work, check out Grove's website. We have applications information there on how to sign up, on how to be a staff at Grove Christian Camp, or Little River Christian Camp this coming up. Also, I lost my train of thought there for a second.
Man Camp.
Oh, we got Man Camp coming up. We do a variety of different camps. We do women's retreats, men's retreats, marriage retreats. Craft retreats. We do about 4 craft retreats a year.
Family camp.
We do a family camp. We do a couple workday weekend camps. Usually Memorial Day, we'll do a camp up there, and everybody comes up, and we work until noon, and then we goof off the rest of the day. We do that all weekend. So,
so family camp. If you've never been to a family camp, there's going to be one this year at Little River, the first one that we're in charge of putting on. But every year over Labor Day weekend, we do a family camp at Grove, and we've had up to 400 people there at times. Usually there's about 200, and it's just a blast. We have organized volleyball tournaments, horseshoe tournaments. We've done cribbage tournaments before, pinochle tournaments. and it's just a lot of fellowship time. We usually have just an amazing speaker and an awesome band. There's classes for each age group of kids. There's a nursery, there's a little kids class, there's a middle school and high school class, and it's all programmed out. It's pretty fun. Yep. So this year, we're going to do our first one at Little River, and so it's coming up pretty quick in May. I'm sorry, Memorial Weekend. I just got all the information finalized on that, so there's going to be posters coming out to your churches and registration forms soon. We're able to legally do family camp, so we're going to run it this year in a way that is legal, so it's going to be fun.
Joel's an expert at pushing the boundary on the legal end of it, so no, I'm just teasing. So I want to encourage you to come out to, even for the day, usually we'll do like a Sunday come out, even if you're not camping for the family camp, come on out and just spend all day with us Sunday for Sunday service, and there'll be food and games, and it's a lot of fun, so I want to encourage you guys to show up and support us there. This last week, or I guess the last 2 weeks, we have really been down working hard at the Little River camp. We're tearing out a lot of stuff out of the old caretaker's house right now, carpets and appliances that don't work and a lot of different things, tearing that all out. And we're getting ready. Well, we've done a lot of painting also. And what?
Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
I was just thinking about, there was a smell in the caretaker's house. And so Tom and another guy were trying to go under the house to figure out what it was. And I see them in there looking around with flashlights. Pretty soon I hear them both screaming, running out of there. And there was a skunk in there. That was the smell. Oh.
I got out of there unscathed, though. That was all right. So. Yeah, so, and we're making plans. We're going to so there's going to be new carpet, new, the snap plank vinyl flooring we're putting in, new lighting, new appliances are going in, and so just going to make it a lot more livable for our next camp manager down there at Little River. And we're searching right now. Right now we have a young, I'll let you talk about
Yeah, we have kind of an intern that we've been training for a couple years now, and he's getting married in July. He's 18, his fiance's 18, and they're pretty impressive. He's the kid that when all of our staff works all day and then they go goof off, we ask, where's Nolan? And we look around and he's weeding a flower bed or something. This is what this kid does all the time. He just works. And so we're going to have to watch him and make sure that he spends time with his family and doesn't work all the time. But we're excited to send them down there, and we're going to work with them closely, and he's going to get started in just a hands-on training until we find the new managers there.
Camping ministry, yeah. Getting started. So.
Matter of fact, he's there right now, finishing the custom cabinets in the new guest houses right now. So.
Yeah. So this last week also we poured some concrete around the two new houses up there, handicap accessible porches out there. The cabinetry's being done, and so we're hoping maybe here in a couple of weeks we'll be ready to call for the final on those two brand new houses there at Little River. It's going to take a little longer to get the manager's house back up and going, but I don't know.
Those new houses have to be done by May because I have groups booked, so they're booked for there.
All right, we'll do our best, Joel. So, no, but and we're just looking forward down. I don't know a lot about Little River. Through the years, I visited with Dean and Linda, and we helped each other out through the years. Also, Derek Pearl was down there for a while. I worked with Derek for quite a while, different areas and stuff. So, but I don't know a lot about the history. So I'm going to be tapping into you guys that have been going out there for a long time, so I can start getting a feel for how it happened. When did they start going to camp out at Little River? Does anybody know? When did it open up?
We hear it's the 50s, but we don't know.
It was in
That's
the 50s,
what we hear.
Mid-50s sometime? Okay, very good. How many of you guys have been counselors or worked up at anybody? Yeah, you done anything up there at the camp? Yeah. In the 60s,
right.
You did good.
It was pretty new then in the 60s.
Yeah. So, and there's we see a lot of names on the walls out down there and stuff. We don't always know the history there, the Barneys and the different things. So we're literally looking forward to learning about that culture, that history that comes out of the Little River, that camp, because I know how rich and stuff it. So my kids both went to Grove Christian Camp. I'm going to tell a story on my son really quick. So it was his first year at camp. I believe he was fourth grader, and we took him up there. And my wife, was really nervous, and so she got him a travel toothbrush and a little travel tube of toothpaste and put it in a little quart-size baggie, and then each day of clothing, he had underwear and socks and shorts and a T-shirt in gallon bags in his suitcase, and they were marked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we dropped him off, and he was wearing this bright yellow shirt and a pair of green shorts, and away he went. Just right away, he was blending in and having a great time. My wife was not having such a great time, but we got her out of there. And when we picked him up on the following Saturday, here he comes running across the field in a bright yellow shirt and a pair of green shorts. 6 days later, his mom opened up his suitcase. None of those clothes had been touched. His unopened tube of toothpaste. Andy, didn't you take a shower all week long? Dad, I swam in the river every day. So a lot of rich heritage at Grove, and I know it's the same way at Little River. We want to make sure that we continue that on. We don't want that thing to end, and that's why we were so excited about coming together with Little River. I hate to see something like that just fall to the wayside, and it's such an amazing tool for the gospel.
Yeah, so what's going to happen at Little River now? So we're in the process now. We've just started the lawyer process of joining together. So some of our board members were nervous at Grove about joining together right away, but God's just been providing so much. So the last time we met, they wanted to go ahead with the process. So we met with the lawyers a couple weeks ago, and we're in the process of joining and becoming one organization. So what that means for Little River is Little River is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be Little River Christian Camp. Grove Camp will be Grove Christian Camp. You guys will own 2 camps. All the churches involved will own 2 camps.
There's 33 churches now that are involved in the organization.
And we have churches still that are calling and interested in joining. So it's amazing. But we have just amazing adult camps at Grove Camp that have gone on forever. And our hope is to start moving a lot of those adult camps down to Grove.
Little River.
Or to Little River, sorry.
That's right.
We've actually started moving some down there already. We're going to start with the family camp. And so we want to get everybody there so we can get connected with different churches. One thing about family camp at Grove Camp is you just look forward to seeing those people every year. And it's my favorite time of the year. And I'm looking forward to having 2 favorite times of the year, one at Little River and one at Grove Camp. So soon we're going to be having marriage retreats at Little River. Craft retreats. Matter of fact, there's been craft retreats already. We had to move some from Grove when Lane County was closed to Douglas County, so we moved a full booked out craft retreat already to Little River. I keep calling them the wrong camp,
That's right.
I'm hoping you're getting. We're going to be doing some marriage retreats, craft retreats. We're hoping to do some men's retreats, women's retreats, some pastor wives retreats, some pastor retreats, just lots of stuff that benefits our churches. So
this last year we did, they called it the Shepherdess Retreat.
Yeah.
And so it was for women whose husbands are involved.
Or they could be involved.
Are they involved in ministry, and just like a big support group. They had a speaker come in, and it was just a regular full weekend. And if you were involved in ministry as a woman, or your husband you're a minister's wife or something. It's just basically to build some community and support for those women in ministry, and it was very successful. I don't know how Joel got around the rules on that one, but we did have it at
it was legal.
It was legal. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so one thing we noticed when we went to Little River is it's really well set up. There's some maintenance needs, but it's really well set up for adult retreats there. Instead of cabins, there's houses. There's the dormitories that have bathrooms inside a building, so you don't have to go outside. Grove Camp is set up. It's a great place for kids. There's no bathrooms in the cabins, so you don't have the smells in the cabins. They have to go to the bathrooms, which is great, because a lot of those kids don't shower. There's the zip line and all the stuff that kids want at Grove. So the goal is to do most of the kids stuff at Grove and most of the adult stuff at Little River. And then we'll be throwing in outdoor schools at both, because that's what helps keep costs low. We'll be doing lots of rental groups in the off season to keep costs low. So that's the plan.
Yeah. And so we We charge $185 for a week of camp at Grove right now. And it's been that way for, I think, 6 years now. Seven
Yeah.
years. We've kept it there. But if you're a member church of the association that owned the camp, it's $165 for a week of camp. And I know that's expensive. Like if you know someone who has 5 kids, camp could be a tough go. But we do have a policy at Grove, and it'll extend over into Little River, is that we don't want anybody, adult or kids, not coming to camp because they can't afford it. Whether the church can scholarship or Grove can scholarship. A couple times a year, hopefully this year we're going to try to do 3 times a year. We do something in November. It's called the Hymn Sing, and we hold it at one of the churches in Eugene. And this last year, I think we raised $16,000, and that's to help support kids that can't afford to come to camp. And a lot of those kids are out of the foster care program in Eugene and Cottage Grove, and so those kids are coming up there. There's no way they have any money to come to camp. So we just want to make sure that if you want to come to camp, whether you're an adult or a kid, that it's available to you. So.
And I think that's about all we have, unless anybody has any questions.
How about
Is there time for
questions?
that?
I would love to answer questions.
Joel and Tom, if you guys don't mind, for the people watching the live stream,
Oh, I got over.
If you could repeat the question back from the microphone, because if they ask you something, the people watching online will hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So is there any questions about either camps or?
No way.
Easy crowd, easy crowd.
This is the first church all year that has not.
Yes.
There they
What are you guys most excited about with the merging of camps?
Yep. The question was, what are we most excited about with the merging of the camps?
I'm excited to, well, first of all, to involve 4 or 5 more churches right now. I have 33 separate ministers in my life, and that, not a lot of people can boast to that. I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited about getting more organized with the adult stuff down here and the kids stuff up there, and seeing how that works out. I'm excited about impacting the communities down here more with that camp. Not that we're dropping the ball, but I'd like to see us doing more stuff in the community, using the camp in the community to bring more people to Christ, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm the most excited about community and just seeing the lives that'll be changed. I see that 70, 80 kids, I either baptize them or sit on the banks while they're being baptized at Grove, and there's not a better job than that. So, and 20 to 30 adults every year. I'm excited about that and seeing that happening at Little River as well, which I hear it's been happening there for years as well.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Yes, the question was anticipation for summer camps. Do we anticipate this will be day camps or summer camps? I got an email from the governor's office yesterday, and they're anticipating it being day camps. There are ways around it for groups that come from a long ways away, so please be reaching out to me if you want to bring kids. There's family camp options available for the kids that can't drive back and forth. Yep. All right. Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Joel and Tom. Appreciate it. We're glad to have you guys here with us this weekend. And, of course, you guys, if you haven't got a chance to meet Andrew and Yolanda yet, our visiting missionaries, please shake their hands as you go and say hi to them. Pam, are there any closing instructions from the is that the Faith Promise card? Okay. Yeah, just I mentioned at the beginning, but just a reminder, if you want to fill out your card early or you aren't going to be here tomorrow, feel free to fill out your Faith Promise card tonight. Or today, and you can turn it in. Just as a reminder, the part on the left there is for you to keep. The little tab on the right is for you to turn in. You don't need to write your name on that. It's totally anonymous, but of course we're challenging you to pray about what God might be asking you to give towards missions. In that, we'll be supporting great ministries like the one you heard about here this morning. All right. With that, I'll take a moment to close us in prayer, and then we'll let you all make a break for it here. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together and this opportunity to hear about the wonderful ministry that is happening in Grove and Little River. Lord, we're excited to see the pieces come together with this, and despite some of the restrictions, we are excited to see your kingdom grow over the course of this summer. Thank you for this time and the friendships here that we were able to enjoy this morning. We love you, and we pray that your Spirit would continue its work and your hand would be guiding us as we head into tomorrow. We love you and pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, thank you all. God bless you. Good to see you this morning.